Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to talk about the silent way. I would like to mention first of all that this lecture will be going to be explained with two parts since it has actually more than 20 principles as I remember. So I believe that if we divided this lecture into two parts, one as a principle, then the rest of the questions and the techniques and so on. So let us have a start. So first of all, from where we get this name of the silent way. If you are interested to know the historical background of this way, you have to read the techniques and the principles in language teaching by Diana Larson Freeman and Marty Anderson. It has quite good historical background, but let us know from where we get this name. It has its name or had its name from the silence, which is a tool by the teacher who used it. Used it for what? Used it for let the student to hear to themselves and to listen to each other and discover the mistakes they made by themselves. So there is a huge shift for the rule, of the teacher in this way. Okay, so let us have a start with the principles. Well, the first principle introduce the subject or the steps of or the text of the language for the student should be start with something they know. For example, if the teacher starts with a dialogue, the content of the dialogue or the tense or even the grammar, the student should be familiar with before they read the new dialogue. The second principle is that language learners are intelligent. So when a teacher comes to teach his student or her student and assume that those or these students have no knowledge or they have quite knowledge, no, he is wrong here. They have already intelligent. Okay. The third principle, which is about language, is not learned by repeating, which it means that the students need to develop their own inner criteria for correctness, okay, or to trust and to be responsible for their own production in the target language. The fourth principle, which is students' action can tell the teacher whether or not they have learned. It's quite clear, as I think. So let us move to the fifth principle. The fifth principle can tell us that students should learn to rely on each other and themselves. That means the teacher is not the authority in the classroom. Okay, one student say something to help the another student and the other student help the other student and so on. So they have to listen to themselves and to the teacher. The sixth principle, which is the teacher works with the student while the student work on the language. It means that the teacher works with gestures and sometimes instruction in the student native language to help the student to produce the target language sounds as accurately as possible. The seventh principle, which is the teacher makes use of what students already know, which it is already mentioned in the first principles. That means they have to start with something they know. If they know, for example, past simple, they have to start with something related to the past simple and gradually introduce the new text. The more the teacher does for the student what they can do for themselves, the less they will do for themselves. The eighth principles, it's all about involving Learning involves transferring, what one knows to a new context. For example, if they know what the structure or the formula of past simple tense, they have to use it. They have to put it in context. For example, let us say write a paragraph with past simple, or write, let us say, not only write, maybe producing oral sentences, and so on. The ninth principle is about reading. Reading is worked on from the beginning but follows from what students have learned to say. Actually, most of the principles concentrate on the previous knowledge of the student. That means the teacher points to the words that the students know from the beginning, and sometimes just summarize them in charts and so on. The 10th principle, which where this way had its name, it's about the silence. The silence here is a tool. It helps to foster autonomy or the exercise of any initiative. It also removes the teacher from the center of attention so he can listen to and work with the student. The teacher speaks, but only when necessary. Otherwise, the teacher gets out of the way so that it is the students who receive the practice in using the language. While the 11th principles about the meaning is made clear by focusing on students' perceptions, okay? Not through translation. Sometimes the teacher can translate words or vocabulary into students' native language, but only in necessary. So the 12th principle, which is about students can learn from one another. The teacher's silence encourages the group cooperation. Okay, so here we need the student to listen to themselves, to learn by themselves, not only from the teacher. Well, the third principles about the criticizing and the prices. It means that if the teacher prices or criticizes students, they will be less reliant. The teacher action can interfere with students developing their own criteria. Okay. The fourth principles about errors are important and necessary to learn. It means there is no learning with no mistakes, okay? If there is mistakes or error, there is learning. So it is a natural outcome of learning. We have to deal with it. There is no ideal answer. There is no authority for the teacher in the classroom and so on. So self-correct, even it's important for the 15 principles. If students are simply given answer rather than being allowed to self-correct, they will not retain them. They will not recover or remember this answer. They have to learn to find the answer by themselves. Okay. And the 16th principles about the also listening, or it even can drag us to the silence tool, which it leads to the listening of the student self, which it is about student need, to learn or to learn to listen to themselves. Now the 17th principles about this. At the beginning, the teacher needs to look for progress, not for perfection. Okay, which it is a very important point. You have to progress your work, not to make it perfect. The progression will lead you to the perfection, okay? Learning take place in time. Students learn at different rates, okay? It means there is different levels of the student, different abilities and capability of understanding and so on. While the seventh is, the 18th principles about teacher silence frees the teacher to closely observe the student's behavior. The teacher here needs to show his student what they do. Are they progress in the learning process? Are they get benefit or what, and so on. The 19th principles about student learning, they must give the teacher their attention in order not to miss what he say when he introduce a new text to them or a new material. They have to listen to him, okay? It's all this way, it's all about listening and silence, okay? Students' attention is a key to learning. The 20th principles about students should engage in a great deal of meaningful practice without repetition. It means if they have to learn the, let us say, past simple tense, they have to study it or learn it in different context or situation. It is better than repetition, okay? Let us move to the 21st principles. It's about the elements of the language are introduced logically, expanding upon what students already know. And the 22nd student principle, it's about the student gain autonomy in the language by exploring it and by making choices. Okay, so the student take turns tapping out this sentence of their choice on the word chart and so on. They choose what they want to express. Okay, for example, if I ask them about the past simple, they already know. The student must choose the way he or she wants to explain this tense, whether with the sentence or whether with the structure or whether example, whether with a passage and so on. Let us move to the 23rd principle about language is for self-expression. That means we need to learn this foreign language or this target language to express about ourselves, our thoughts and so on. The 24th principles about the teacher can give valuable information from student feedback. For example, he can learn what to work on he can learn what to work on next. Students learn how to accept responsibility for their own learning. And now we are dealing with the 25th principles. It is about homework. There is no homework in this way. Some learning tasks place naturally as we sleep, so students will naturally work on the day's lesson then. Okay, there is no homework. The 26th principles about the syllabus is composed of linguistic structures. Then we have 27th principles about the structures of the syllabus are not arranged in a linear fashion, but rather are constantly being recycled. Okay, resized. It means there is no repetition, but there is a progress by focusing on the same let us say syllabus and so on. And finally we have the 28th principles, which is which it is the last one. The skills of speaking, reading, and writing reinforced one another, which it means they all important to learn or to teach from the beginning. Thank you very much for your listening. Please don't miss part 2, which it is about the questions of this way and the techniques. Have a good day, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to write a comment. You will find the link of part 2 in the description box. Thank you.